And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
Well, it's just an absolute pleasure to be sitting here. So I was really tired when I got here, and I only slept a couple hours last night, and sitting through the first thing, I was looking at that gentleman who came up here, and wow, it's like, he's so aligned, and it's amazing, and I don't feel it at all. I feel like going to sleep right now, and I can barely keep my eyes open, and oh man, this is... So I said, you know what, I need to get a drink, I need to get a coffee, I'm gonna go get a tea. Went downstairs, it was too crowded, walked down the street, and met a couple young ladies while I was in line, and we were discussing not sleeping and being tired, and I said, you know, how am I gonna not be tired? She said, well, decide you're not tired anymore. I said, great, I'm not tired. I feel better, which I did. And then we started discussing being aligned and what we want. And I said, you know what? I have a question for you. What if I have a job right now and and it sucks? But I'm so blessed to have it because it's giving me money, and I need the money right now. But I said, should I just quit my job right now? Like, that feels like the path of least resistance. And, oh God, she goes, well, I actually don't remember exactly what she said, but she said, what do you really want to do? And I told her what I really want to do, and there's this beautiful, amazing thing that I want to do that's actually going to happen really soon. Because I told her, I said, you know what? The three of us, why don't we do this thing together? And if I get called up there, I'm going to know that I have to go quit my job and go do this. So
we only led you to Starbucks.
Yeah. So I want to express, first of all, my excitement
of following your path.
Yeah.
And it's odd because the path at first just seemed like wanting to stay awake.
Exactly.
It wasn't the big lifetime goal. It was just something that led to 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 something, and that's always the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now at this moment, there's a little bit of resistance about about this.
So keep following the path. So
right.
Follow it in your mind a little bit. You said, I have a job that sucks.
Yeah.
But I like this job that sucks because it provides some things for me even though it sucks. We're just emphasizing the strongest vibration that you were offering there. Right. So we do want to ask the question and give the answer and point out the obvious, that when you are doing something that you really don't want to do, even though there are satisfying benefits to it as well, that the dominant vibration is, this is not something that I intend to do long term. Well, isn't it fine to make that statement? And doesn't that sort of take the suckiness out of it a little bit? In other words, start calling it temporary. This temporary path of least resistance that I'm on, and it's the path of least resistance because it is providing some of the things that I need in this temporary place while I'm on my way to what I really want. And this thing that I'm doing that I appreciate in some ways that isn't the thing I really want to do because it sucks in this way and this way and this way, it is the path of least resistance for now, but the path is getting brighter and clearer and more obvious to me all along. Yes?
Oh, very much so.
And so what we want to say is, don't be so quick to demand that the universe show you the direct path. Just acknowledge that you are on it. And isn't this a nice demonstration that the universe gave to you? The first thing that happened is, because of the contrast, you felt some clarity come to you. In other words, the contrast that we're talking about here, obvious, you can all hear it. You didn't get much sleep. You don't believe that you can be one who feels really good when you don't get a lot of sleep. You watched someone have a conversation. You didn't really enjoy the conversation as much as you might have if you were rested, but you sort of got lulled in to an appreciation for the conversation. You were appreciating the clarity of the person that you saw. You liked what happened. You watched someone evoke from us clarity on a topic beyond, far beyond anything that we had ever offered about it before. In other words, Esther's phone is lighting up. She's not reading them, but lighting up from live stream friends that are watching around the world who are appreciating the power and the clarity of what took place in the first segment. And some of that began happening to you as well. And so there was a new desire that was ignited within you. And it was a simple desire. It was the only desire that you could find right now. It wasn't even the desire, I'm going to get in the hot seat at that point. I'm going to get in the hot seat and get my questions answered. It was just, I need to wake myself up a little bit. I want to be a little bit more like that guy. I want to have a feeling of friskiness about life. In other words, just a small desire was ignited within you, and you followed the path to that. Now, the first place you went didn't turn out to be the path of least resistance. It turned out to be a path of great resistance because the line was too long. Your reason helped you to calculate that it wasn't going to work out for you. You weren't going to get what you wanted in a reasonable time. And then you got an idea to do something else, which you followed, which not only was a place that you could be waited on and get what you wanted, which you've presented for all of us to see in such a nice way, in a timely manner, but you also met someone who was stimulating in another way. The universe guided you to that. You thought you were looking for that, and you found something even more. You see what we're getting at? And so why not be selfish enough to go to what you think you want? Because if you will not deprive yourself of what you think you want and let yourself have what you think you want, we're talking about the coffee really, then that leads to that conversation, that led to that igniting in your vibration, that led to that clarification, that led to that sparking, that led to that decision, that led to you lighting up, that led to us finding you. You see what we're getting at? It's a path that is continually unfolding. Mm-hmm. We want you to start appreciating the Starbucks along the way. The conversations along the way. And release the notion that before you can be happy, that you got to get rid of the sucky thing that you don't want and move directly to what you do want. That's not ever how it works. Not because the universe doesn't know where what you want is, and not because you're incapable of getting there and getting there quick, but because whatever you've got going on has to be vibrationally accurate. You can't overcome. The universe can't buck the current that you've got going. And so the universe is always giving you the impulse, and to your ability to receive them, you are responding to them. So there are lots of things that you all have convinced yourself that you shouldn't allow yourself to experience that are really the path to what you're really looking for. This is the best conversation that we've had. It could not have been a better demonstration of everything we talked about in the first segment. Follow your Starbucks. Or whatever it is that is pleasing to you, and let the universe show you how prolific it is and capable it is of yielding to you not just something that will lead you to something that's pleasurable along the way. In other words, did you like the walk down there?
Yeah, there were jackhammers actually right outside, and I was actually a little bit skeptical of if it was going to be an enjoyable experience or not.
So was it more enjoyable to be moving past the jackhammers to what you believed was going to be a receiving of the Starbucks, or to stand in a line that you knew wasn't going to work out for you? Which was the path of least resistance? The jackhammers were the path of least resistance. Now, isn't that interesting? Jackhammers, the path of least resistance. Are you kidding me? Given where you were? Path of least resistance.
Yeah.
The jackhammers were better than the tired way you felt. They were better than the lethargy you were feeling.
You know,
they were better
actually
than
woke me
standing
up.
in line that wasn't going to get you what you wanted.
Yeah.
Path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is from where you are. Don't ask the path of least resistance to yield you something that you are vibrationally not able to experience. This is really a conversation worth having, isn't it? Jackhammers, path of least resistance. Imagine that. Are there better paths? Of course there are. Is there a better path for you from where you were? No. That was the path of least resistance. You got to be able to recognize the path of least resistance and stop demanding that the path of least resistance be everything that you'd ever hoped and dreamed that it would be. You're right here, right now. You're going to go that way or that way. Pick one. Pick one and stop asking the universe to give you something that you're incapable of receiving in the moment. This is really a good conversation. And then when something good comes from it, even though it didn't look like maybe it was going to, revel in what came from it and walk back through it and acknowledge, yes, indeed, it was the path of least resistance. And then compliment yourself about following that path of least resistance and look where it leads. So now, here you are talking about quitting your job. Jackhammers. That's jackhammers. The idea of quitting your job, that's jackhammers.
That is jackhammers.
That's going to disrupt a lot of things. If you just quit your job all at once, it sort of kind of tears some things up. Right. So now you got another decision to make. Is that the path of least resistance, or are there other options? Well, in this case, there are other options. Yeah. You don't have to take the jackhammer. You could, and it'd work out all right eventually. But why put yourself through the discomfort of that? Why not continue to do what you're doing temporarily and appreciate the benefits that it's temporarily giving you while you acknowledge the true path that's unfolding for you? You see what we're getting at?
Completely. When I walked in there, the thought of the jackhammers was like my job, you know, kind of pounding and grinding, and you know what? I kept walking
and
right
annoying.
Through it.
And isn't it a nice thing that you said to these girls that if you got chosen that you were going to quit your job? And isn't it nice that even in that the universe is taking care of you?
Yes.
And reminding you that, yeah, you can take the jackhammer course and quit your job. You can do it the hard way, or you can do it the easy way. You can stay right where you are and not demand that the universe give you everything that you want right now in this moment, and stay mostly in vibrational alignment with who you really are and what you really want. And watch how the path just keeps unfolding in comfortable ways. You cannot put yourself in a place of discomfort. This is the thing. You've individually, we know that we're saying a lot of things here, and you're hearing it more clearly than most of them because it's your experience. Figure out for yourself what the path of least resistance is now, right now. Not about everything that you ever want, just right now. Is the path of least resistance to go get some Starbucks or not? It was to go get it. Was it to stand in this line or go to another place? It was go to another place. It doesn't get bigger than that. The universe is not going to put you in a position of making decisions that you're incapable of making. And today, it was just about Starbucks. It wasn't about quitting your job. Really good. Really good.
Thank you.